Good morning. Welcome to day 35, episode 6, my small account challenge with the small cap momentum strategy. Feeling a little bit under the weather today, but we're here, putting in the time. Get started. Our top leading gainer for today is SBFM. It's a penny stock, up 200%. So, I don't really think this is something that I'll be able to trade. It's very thickly traded, 100 million shares of volume. Don't see any news on it, so I'm unsure why it's up this much. Canadian biotech stock. STX popped up on the scans with news, but it's higher float. Covex. Second leading gainer up 100%. No news, another biotech stock. HCAI, Chinese, hovering just below VWAP. Popped up a few days ago, came back down. And the rest of them are all higher floats or not up enough on the day. Hard day on this. Oh, that was a really big pop for a penny. I was considering getting in for the breakthrough one here because it was a little bit of an obvious level. Previously had these two topping tails, kind of flat top curl up through 96. But like I said, because it's below $1, it's not within my strategy. Unless it's a VWAP setup. So I didn't want to jump into something right at 7 a.m. here. Normally you can only expect these to move 10 cents, these penny stocks. I would have expected a move from 1 to 110. Right there, popped all the way up to 150. That would have been some really good profit to start the day, but you don't always see this. 50 cents on a penny stock. Maybe I would have taken some profit around 112. So you average maybe about 30 cents. 30 cents of profit on would take a position, a quarter size position of 200 shares. It'd be 80 bucks to start the day. That would have been really good. But the outcome doesn't matter. We think about the process, not the outcome. We trade penny stocks all the time. more often than not, we're going to end up losing on them than winning on them. So we're kind of grinding sideways. It's not worth our time. Consider most of these penny stocks because they're such grinders. And in the future, once we start earning a bit more money, and when the account size grows, then we're gonna have to take really big position size on these. Granted, this one has a ton of liquidity, being 117 million shares of volume. So you could take bigger size on this and get in and out without slippage pretty easily, I would think. The amount of volume, I would suspect, would make it really grindy. There's also the fact that I don't know what the catalyst is on this. So cheaper, we don't know what the catalyst is. It's very close to the edge of the float that I'm willing to trade in a cold market. We're at 4.8 million shares, 4.85. And this is a little bit of a garbage stock too. Right, if you scroll back to 50 million. So I don't really know why this is so thickly traded, but Ross talking about how Webull isn't the greatest broker. Which I suppose makes me a little bit worried if I ever can't trade with TradeZero and I don't have a $30,000 account. Because then my only option would be Questrade for commission-free broker. And Questrade doesn't have customizable hotkeys. As a Canadian, I can't trade with US brokers. They just don't allow it. So my only options are TradeZero and Centerpoint if I ever get a $30,000 account size. Or TradeZero. Ocean One is banned in Ontario. I even emailed Lightspeed and some of the other brokers to see if they accept Canadians, and they said nope. Sorry. I would have to get a US green card, and really the only way for me to do that, unless I get a job in the US somehow that backs me with a green card, would be either get an immigration lawyer, probably pay a bunch of fees, or Get married, I guess, to a U.S. citizen. I'm watching GovX right now, but this one's also kind of thickly traded, cheaper stock. Biotech. No news that I can see. Maybe if it breaks above 327. ESGN popping up. Higher float. Topic tail. So I did more learning and research and all that over the weekend than I normally do. Especially since I had free time, since I was not feeling the greatest the past couple of days. Kind of looking up stuff on my phone and whatnot while sitting in bed. But what was I gonna say? Sorry, a little bit out of it here, but BFM. I was doing research, and one of the things that kind of validated my thoughts about the strategy was Ross talking about how market makers work. And you know, how you should be able to say clearly what your edge is. Ross didn't talk about the edge. It was another YouTuber. Ross mentioned the how the brokers work and stuff, and I would say that my edge is trading breakouts. When a stock is proving its strength and breaking out of a range, so out of high of day, out of a pivot, on that fresh algo spike on breaking news, or when a red to green move happens, that is also breaking out of a range, right? It's breaking out of a consolidation, going lower, failing, going lower, and then coming back up. And that's like a bear trap. Bear traps are also breaking out of a range. It's breaking down below VWAP. False breakout causes it to rubber band and snap back up. So I say I don't trade penny stocks, but that was a very clean ABCD pattern there for entry on that entry candle right there. So I mean, this particular setup would have been a very lucrative entry, as it were back here for the breakthrough one. Maybe after that big move, I should have considered getting in for a pull back. Like I said, it's not a part of my strategy, and I'm thinking of the outcome again, but holy smokes. I have 127, probably get in for 130 to 180. Because this is a grindy type of stock, I probably would have held all the way up to 175. Probably would have taken profit at 175. Wait for the double top here for confirmation that the move is over. Probably make 40, 50 cents a profit on a $1 stock. That's pretty insane. Or maybe I would have taken some profit at 150 here. It's up 468%. It's pretty strong. I've been hoping that the amount of volume in the past few days, like all these stocks that have been going up 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 500%, although they haven't been happening in pre-market, they've been happening during regular hours and after hours. I've been hoping that it's gonna give some people some FOMO, so we start getting some heat in the market here. We finally have one moving up 500% during pre-market, which is great. But here's a bull flag pattern on the 1 minute. I'm not sure if it's extended now though. This could be the second pullback, right? First and second pullback after a fresh breakout. So this would be a bull flag right here, 174 up to 184. It's a little bit too close to high of day for me, for my liking, but like I said though, I care more about rules than about profit right now. Goal is not to make money, it's to keep our head above water. And since this is outside of my rules, being a penny stock, because it's so grindy, it's like Ross. Ross doesn't trade these, part of his rules, so I'm not trading it. Anyway, back to what I was saying before, because I didn't finish my thought there. But I can very clearly say that my edge is trading breakouts, and that was kind of affirmed by the Ross talking about how these market makers work and why these algo spikes tend to occur. Previously, I thought it was just short sellers covering when it breaks out of a range, but I didn't know that market makers will pull their orders off the bid or the ask if it's breaking outside of a range, and then they'll fill back in when it's trading within a range or when it gets overextended. Because they make more money when the stock is trading within a range so that it can stack the buys and the asks. But that's how those algo spikes occur, is it's doing something outside of standard deviation and it pulls away its a few of them, not, the algos battle each other, but the algos, some of the market makers, when it's breaking out, they'll pull away their asks, they'll move them up. So that's how some of these big spikes can occur. It's interesting that Ross got in here break of 2. 600% in this thing. Just in with 1,000 shares. He had actually tried to buy shares at 142. Right back here. But he didn't. So, I mean, there were 2 really good entries on this that would have made me a lot of money today if I considered penny stocks. So right here, on that candle, because it was right below $1, consolidating right below $1, and it was a 5-minute close. So you can see on the 5-minute chart, when I mouse over this candle, it's 6:59, right? 6:59 to 7, so you know it's a 5-minute close. But you also know because when you mouse over the candles on the chart, when you go left to right on the 1-minute, it switches on the 5-minute too. And whenever there's a 5-minute close, there's more likely to be a breakout or for extra volume to come in, because you have multi-time frame alignment, and there's more people that buy on the 5-minute. You got people buying on the 5-minute, you got people buying on the 2-minute, you got people buying on the 1-minute. So back there was a good entry. On this ABCD pattern was also a good entry. They're both entry candles. One is green bodied, one is a hammer. Now we're more in the price range that I'd be willing to trade, above $2. It's just overextended now, so we gotta wait for it to pull back. But this is also I'm just worried that I'd be buying the top up here now. $260 down to $210. That's a pretty high volume selling candle there now. That's probably going to be the top. It's up 700%. So Ross took a trade on GovX because he assumed because this was pulling back that volume was going to go into GovX, which is interesting. I missed the squeeze. I can't get on in this pullback because of this topping tail. It is very interesting though. Two no news stocks up over 100%. But it ends up pulling away there anyways, even though we had this previous topping tail. If you guys notice, I'm being very cautious right now. Mostly because I'm not feeling the greatest today, so I want to make sure that my entries are on a stock that I'm sure about. I haven't been sure about SBFM or GovX. GovX started at $2. It did break through 3, but it's a no news stock, so I don't know why it's up. Right, I don't know what the catalyst is. Ross is saying that the catalyst is the fact that attention is shifting from SBFM because it's pulling back. So some people have FOMO. So this is more likely to work because of that big move that just happened on SBFM. So, I mean, it probably would have been a good entry right here for the retest of that high of day level, that micro pullback on the 10-second, and the breakthrough 350. But, I mean, if today is hot, there's going to be more opportunities than just this. To see stocks with no news. But it is good to see this type of momentum. When we actually get something with a news catalyst, then it's more likely to make a big move. Right here, we have a bit of a bull flag forming. High of 433. Once again, though, it's no news. I'm not sure if it would work. We also have these previous two topping tails here. This is pulling back a bit farther than I'd like. Pulled back for $1 a share now. It is 7:30, so let's see if we have stocks with news I can be a little bit more confident about. Must be some FOMO or something from last week because I have no idea why these stocks would be up 200%, 100%. The entry on this would have been right there if I were taking entry. It's a cup and handle pattern, by the way. I didn't explain that. Tests high of day, pulls back, holds a 9 EMA, forms a handle, comes back up, breaks, retest, buy for the micro pullback. I mean, so far today, if I include all the opportunities that this penny stock gave, and there was another entry right here. I mean, there were 3 patterns on this penny stock that I recognized, but I just didn't take them because it's outside of my price range. And then GovX, I mean, I didn't know that after a 700% move, I just didn't think about it, about the fact that attention might shift because of FOMO. I thought that, you know, SBFM in the matter of minutes went from 100 million shares of volume to 185 million shares of volume. So I didn't think that anything else would be moving at the time, and GovX had no news. Still has no news. It's pulling back now. This is entirely fueled by FOMO. So, I mean, it doesn't feel good to miss 4 opportunities in a row right at 7 a.m. But here we are. Ross is up 10,000 bucks. But I'm not going to FOMO into anything. I would like to wait for something with news. My risk tolerance right now is a lot higher than Ross's because I don't have a cushion on the week, the month, the year. I just started the small account challenge. So it's much more important for me right now to start building a cushion with stocks that have a catalyst that I can be confident about, a known catalyst, rather than jumping into things without that confidence. Once I can start building a bit of a cushion and I can relax a little bit, start taking some of these extra setups. That are B quality, because it's what they are. Even though they're up 100% or 165%, 670%, they are B quality or even C quality. So I don't have the cushion to take that risk right now. But once I start building up a little bit, then I can afford to take a bit more risk. And this is kind of what Ross calls scaling into the week, scaling into the month, scaling into the year. Right, we're just getting started. What is this? Million share medical equipment. Don't see any news on this. SBFM's high was 264. UCY is still on continuation, but it's an 11 million share float. Needs to get up over 5. Some other penny stocks moving now. Going to be penny theme. PSI's 8 million share float. Not enough, up enough on the day. News isn't that interesting. BHAI. %59 revenue growth. So the scanners are a little bit more active today. I'm hoping this is the start of a hot market. So my criteria in a hot market are a little bit different than that of a cold market for what setups I'm willing to take. Being that I can trade curling patterns, I can trade VWAP setups, I expand the float, and I'm willing to trade to 10 million. Expand the price range that I'm willing to trade to be above $10 to $20. Although I will still trade some of these if they are up enough on the day and have enough volume. Just means that I'm more likely to enter the positions knowing that I have a higher, I have the tailwind at my back, higher likelihood of it actually working out. I can also be a little bit more lenient about whether or not I'm going to enter stock that has no news. We have to see. It's only day one of this action. If it continues. So we got 8 minutes to 8 a.m. QUCY is creeping up to I have 5 there. I don't remember what NL is on the stock quote. Is it New Zealand? The country code, I mean. SBFM, trying to make a little bit of a curl. if we get anything at 8 a.m. here, or if attention maybe switches back to SBFM after this consolidation. So this Ross is taking the curl. It's interesting. I'm not trading curling patterns yet, though. I can't confirm if this market is hot enough for it. What I would wait for is for it to come up, retest high of day, and hold 250. And if it holds 250 for the cup and handle, then I would get in for the break of 264. Because it isn't in a price range that I'd be more willing to trade now. I don't particularly need a catalyst if it's up 700% on the day. There's just going to be a lot of traders with FOMO. I can't trade the curl right now because it's still trading within a range. I don't know what made Ross decide to jump into this curl. I think he bought at 215. He bought like 40,000 shares at 215. But we're watching for 8 a.m. news. I'd prefer to trade something with news. You can be a little bit more confident about what the catalyst is. SPAI has government contract news. It's just not up enough right now. It's to break over 5. $9 million share float. This had a move not long ago. It's an additional government contract is what the news was. So the other day it popped up to 575 and then sold off. I don't see anything particularly interesting. ABT 38% with some biotech news. Bit of a higher float, 9 million shares. Higher float, cheaper price. Nine EMA is up at 280. I mean, positive data is good for the news headline. So high was 230 there. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with TradeZero. TradeZero candles are different from TradingView candles sometimes. On my trade zero, it says the high is 223, which is not. On trading view, it's 229. I don't know what's going on there. What happens if I switch to the 5-minute? Yeah, it was just incorrect while it was open. I switched the time frame on trade zero, and then the correct data loaded. Now it's 229. So I don't know what's up with that. Trade zero is weird. LABT is getting pretty thickly traded already. That's a big spike. All the way up to 240. 238. Getting some volume. We break through there. I don't like how we pull back like that. I was 269. I don't particularly like the topping tails. How it spikes there and then it pulls back 20 cents. We're hitting the 9 EMA here. Ross took that trade too. It's definitely feeling like a bit of a hotter market. Even this 9 million share float cheaper stock is moving up quite a bit. Up 100%. Kind of heavy up here. I'm going to wait for a proper 1 minute pullback. I was 366. I'm going to buy here for the breakthrough 350. Looking for 375. Top is 345. Take some profit up here. Continue holding. failed to break through 4 there. The rest of my profit. We're stalling out around 4. All these levels of resistance were ones I drew previously from previous day where it popped up. We have daily resistance at 393 and 413. So we need to get above. Well, it has resistance at. Here, let me get rid of some of these because some of these were shadowed by a previous day. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. So 466 is that next level of daily resistance, actually. This was support here. $325. And 366 was a level there. So first pullback, this could be the second pullback if it holds 366. Thanks, Bass. I hope you got some nice trades today too. There's a whole bunch of stocks moving earlier that I just didn't feel comfortable taking the trades on. I don't like how it pulled below 366 here on this pullback. We'll see though. Looks like it might close above 366. First candle to make a new high would be 380. Yeah, I don't like how far it's pulling back now. I think we just wait for another opportunity. Unless this curls back up to 4, then no more trades on this. We got 27 bucks of profit on that trade. Now I can afford to size up a little bit if I see another good opportunity. Because I have a bit of a cushion on the day. So, did I do everything right in that trade? I think I did for a base hit. I took my first profit at 366, which is the retest of the high of day in case it rejected off of it. So I took half profit at high of day, and then I held the rest to see if it would break through. Could have added back on the breakthrough, but right now I'm just looking for base hits. I'm not going to do any crazy scaling. We gotta build cushion and a confidence first, but I think that trade went fairly well. Just squeeze out a little bit more profit by sold closer to 4. It was just being a little bit choppy here on the 10-second as it reached 4. I didn't like how choppy it was being, but I think that was a good trade for that bull flag on the 1 minute. I did miss some opportunities as it was climbing up back here. I just didn't like all the topping tails. I wanted to wait for a proper 1 minute pullback. I didn't have a cushion on the day like Ross to take more risk. So I think we're just going to wait for something else that looks good to pop up, and maybe I can take a little bit more size. Definitely feel like today is a hotter market though. Now we've had at least 3 stocks that popped up over 100% today. So I hope this is the start of some FOMO, some heating up. If tomorrow is looking to be the same, where we got quite a few stocks popping up, then I might start loosening my strictness to take more trades, especially if I can get a bit more of a cushion. If I can get a bit more of a cushion, then I can take a little bit more risk if the market's heating up. It's a good sign that we have something over 700%, 200%, 100%. It's almost 8:30 here. 1 minute to 8:30. We're watching the news here. See if anything else pops up. We don't have anything else pop up at 8:30. Um, then we'll have to be a bit more cautious about protecting these gains that I made on that trade on LABT, since we're going to be running out of time. 8:30 is our next best chance for news, for something to pop up here that I can be a bit more aggressive on. A bit more share size, if it looks good. Otherwise, it might be just about protecting the trade that I made today, the profits that I made today. Because if this is a hot market, then there will be more opportunities tomorrow. But we'll see if anything pops up here. Doesn't mean I won't take any more trades later. It just means that I might take it continuing with quarter size today, if nothing pops up at 8:30 here. Not seeing anything. So I'm still here. I'm just gonna turn off my camera to eat a muffin while I'm waiting for something else to pop up. Finishing my breakfast. I still have half a muffin on my table here. So it's quite sad that LABT popped up over 100% just to come all the way back down. The CMND has news here. This is a big mover in the past. I remember being a bigger mover. And it's been selling off for a while. I mean, it's same problem that I had earlier, right? Is that it's cheaper, 66 cents right now. This isn't particularly something I normally trade. However, given the move on SBFM today, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some people jumping onto this. You can see the increasing volume there. I could have very well taken the risk knowing the profile today for this break through the flat top here at 62 to 75. Knowing CMND is a past mover. I don't think it's right for me to break my rules, though. You know, these are just my opinions. It's more important to follow rules than follow opinions. The risk goes outside of just winning money or losing money. It affects your mentality too, because if I jump in on something that I'm not supposed to because of my rules and then I lose on it, and I'll say I should have followed my rules. And if I get rewarded for not following my rules, then it'll make me more likely to break them in the future. But there was a clear micro pullback. There was a clear break there. I mean, both would have worked for people who trade pennies. But it's better for me not to get involved. Exact same reason why I didn't trade SBFM or GovX earlier. They were both cheaper with no news at the time, even though they're up a significant amount on the day. If I take a loss on it, make a mistake, and I'll be telling myself, like, why did I jump into that? You know, it's not part of my cold market rules. And then you risk becoming emotionally compromised. Compared to the opposite, right? You follow your rules, you make a mistake, no big deal. Followed my rules, my strategy, it just didn't turn out well. Nothing I could have done. Sometimes the market probabilities just end up that way. But I'm of the opinion that, you know, don't take trades outside of your rules if you're going to become emotionally compromised. I'm not saying I would for sure become emotionally compromised, but I know I would be annoyed if I jumped in and I took a loss after, you know, having 27 bucks on the day. Jumping into a penny stock. I have my opinions about this, right? I know that people are going to jump on this. It's already up 60%. But we're still beginners here, so we need to build that confidence, build that emotional discipline. So I'm not going to touch this right now. For me to touch a penny stock, it needs to be an obvious pullback, 1 minute pullback around VWAP above $1. Otherwise, I don't touch these. It's part of my strategy. Going slow, one building block at a time. So there's actually one halt this morning. MI halted pending news. 18 million share float. It's too expensive for me though. This is the right stock. Is this the right stock? Yeah, I see. Has a reverse split today, actually. So this would be probably a lower float today. One out of 80. This would actually be a pretty low float. What is 18 million divided by 80? Calculator. 18 divided by 8. So this would have an extremely low float. 225,000 share float. Assuming that the 18 million share float was prior to this reverse split and then it's not updated. I don't know. A bit too expensive for me though. We're waiting for 9 a.m. in 9 minutes here, 8.5. MND kind of just selling off now. UUD trying to move a bit on continuation from the previous day, but it needs to get above 240. Breaking a bit of that descending resistance that you can see here. Not perfect, but quite a lot of volume. UUD is a lower float. What was the previous high? It was 240, right? Yeah, it was 240. AUD is up how much on the day? It's only up 8% on the day. So this, although it has quite a bit of volume, I don't know if it's obvious enough to traders right now because it's only up 8% on the day. So trading this would also be outside of my rules, even though it might be forming a bit of a bull flag here at this 210 support level. I would have to wait for it to break 240 and hold 240 for it to be up enough on the day for it to become more obvious to traders, because once it breaks high of day, then it'll be a bit more obvious. It'll start popping up on people's scans. This stock, if I remember correctly, was on Friday. It was a grinder. Even though it says that it has a 492,000 share float, it's likely that the company was selling shares. So this is a bit more of a grinder stock. Like I said, if I take any more trades today, because it's already almost 9, I'll probably continue trading with only quarter size. Just protect the $27 from today. Not go too big. It is getting a bit later into the day, so once again, QUCY still creeping up here a little bit, but it needs to get above $5. A little bit of a higher float still, but QUCY is the stock that's been up 1,500% on continuation. But it would get some attention if it broke over 5. Right now it's a little bit riskier. We are coming up to 9 a.m. ONFO with 9 a.m. news. So letter of intent to acquire 4 companies. So Onfo is a stock that made a big move not too long ago on April 16th. Gapped up from 67 cents, moved all the way up to 250, and since then it's come back down to below $1. I don't think letter of intents are a significant headline, and this is a cheaper stock, so you're going to ignore that. CMND making a curl back up here. Just though it's a cheaper price right now. So Ross is signing off here. He's not taking any more trades. I'll consider what I'm going to do here at the open, if I'm going to take any more trades or not. I might do the same thing as him. But SBFM is holding up the 20 EMA. It's gapping up 500%. I would assume that this would probably have a lot of attention at the open. So we'll have to see. The question becomes, is that 150 level? You know, the question becomes whether I want to take that risk at the open to get back profits potentially. Is this setup good enough? Problem that I'm having, which is the same problem that I had earlier, is that SBFM and GovX, from what I can see, they don't have any news. So I don't know what the catalyst on this is, on these stocks are. They're both biotech stocks. Well, not both biotech. One is healthcare, one is biotech. They're both, or one is pharmaceuticals, one is biotech. They're both in the healthcare sector. But they both don't have news. They would be the stocks that I would be paying attention to at the open, since LABT had news, but it sold off. So I'm not particularly sure if I should take the risk to trade something at the open that doesn't have news. The fact that it's up 550% has got to count for something. But I'm not sure if it's just going to end up selling off at the open because it's up this much, or what it's going to do. Chicago wants me to play. You want me to throw the sock? You want me to throw the sock? It's a nice sock. It's nice. Are you ready? Ready? GovX is also still holding above VWAP, but it's $2 below the highs. So I don't know if I'd be interested in GovX. At least this is only 75 cents below the highs. But the fact that it started at $1 today means that its halt bands are going to be a bit thinner than usual as well. CISS popping up. Very low float. 385% increase. Of the drawings here. It is up 30%. With a very low float. Really extended up here right now, though. Dropped from 5 all the way down to 450. The float is almost too low, especially for something that's earnings news. This is a bit more of a garbage stock as well. If you look back, all the way up to 4 million, it had to do a bunch of recent reverse splits. Or had to do a bunch of reverse splits. I don't know why I said recent. I don't know. We have to wait to see if this holds up or not. It is up 62%. But this isn't something that I can jump in on breaking news. I have to wait for a proper pullback on it because it's risky. You can see on the 1 minute and the 2 minute, there's a bit of a divergence. In the 2 minute, that's a high volume selling candle, but on the 1 minute, it's just a long body doji followed by a regular 1 minute candle. I don't like that divergence. I want to see multi-time frame alignment to jump in. And you can see it was a false breakout there. If you're quick enough, you could have taken some profit there at 540 or 530 because it stalled out. But, you know, that divergence in the topping tails made me more cautious. Once again, trade zero on its chart is saying high of 558. But on trading view here, it's high of 555. So I don't understand why trade zero has different data. Very odd. It's a bit annoying, I'm going to be honest. I trust TradingView more than I do Trade Zero for its charting data because TradingView is made for charting, right? Because Trade Zero, the broker, it has charts, not particularly great. I trust TradingView's data more to be accurate. High of 555 is just really annoying to see that on the side. Because I would like to be able to look at highs and lows on a glance without having to mouse over it on my trading view. But I can't trust Trade Zero to show me that information. We're curling back up with increasing volume. So if it breaks 550, then we might see a squeeze up. If I trade this, I'm just trading with quarter size. It's very, very risky. It has big range. And one of the things I'd be worried about here would be another false breakout. So I'm gonna wait for cup and handle, or I'm gonna wait for it to break and hold 555. But it's releasing prospectus news. What is this? Not entirely sure, but what matters is the price action here, how the market is responding to it. can see some bigger sellers popping out there as we reach 555. However, we are forming a little bit of a bull flag here. This is about to be a 5-minute candle close. I don't like how it's closing red though. And it closed with a topping tail. I would have considered an entry there if it closed very close to 550 for the break. And the 5-minute closed as a hammer. We'll see though. It's retesting VWAP here. Once again, though, there's that divergence on the 2-minute with the high volume selling. 720,000 shares of selling volume. We've got some significant resistance at 55. Do we break? Do we hold? No. New high is 65. I think there's a hidden seller up there at 65. Yeah, we're banging up against it, but it's not moving any higher. But I don't see any orders on the ask. I don't know. I don't think I want to touch this stock. It's 7 minutes to 9:30. I see a hidden seller there. If you guys can't see it on your level 2, we're banging up against 60, 65, 70. There's a lot of buying volume, a lot of green on the tape, but it's just not moving. Pausing up there. I don't like that. There's very heavy resistance up here. Is it possible that it breaks through and goes higher? It is. If that's hidden seller gets bought up. But you know, we're pretty close to the end of the window. To make back a loss if I make a mistake. And I don't like the fact that there's a hidden seller there. I don't know how many shares they're going to be selling. This is a trash stock company, so it's possible that they could be selling shares into the move because they're trying to finance. And it's very possible that if I get in up there and they start dumping shares, then it can be a bad situation. I think we're gonna wait for market open, and we're gonna see about maybe trading SBFM at the open. We'll see. It's a bit cheaper though to be trading at the open, but if it gives us an obvious setup, I'll take it, I guess. All right, Bass. Thanks for stopping by. See you tomorrow. QNCX making a lot of noise. I'm not sure what the catalyst on this one is. So it announces an acquisition right before the opening bell here. 187 million private placement and acquisition. 15 million share float. Has room up to 384. So the market is definitely a bit hotter today. The problem with the stock, the news is great. It's up 50% already. The problem is that it's a combination of a higher float and a lower price. So, once again, my rules are telling me that I shouldn't take a trade here, especially because we're a minute away from the opening bell. It's interesting how it's selling off that much, even though the news is good. This might end up curling back up later. We're gonna watch SBFM at the open, but I'm gonna be very careful about what trades I'm willing to take here. I haven't been feeling the greatest today either. My stomach's kind of been churning a little bit. So I don't know. I might call it here. We'll see what happens. UNCX going red on the day. Interesting. So we don't trade the first 2 to 3 minutes of the opening bell as a rule. We're not touching this yet. It's halting up. Yeah, the halt bands are really tight. It can only move 12 cents before it halts up. GovX made a bit of a red to green move on that 10-second there. Bouncing off of that previous support level, which was that breakout earlier. Once again, though, I wouldn't have been able to touch this. I don't trade the first 2 minutes. Oops, SBFM. This is resuming at 3606. Right now, it's basically resuming flat from 197 to $2, only up a few cents. We're breaking through that pivot, GovX. So I would like for one of these to break through the highs. I don't like trading below the highs if it's not a red to green move. 225 is sort of a pivot here on SBFM. I think it's halting up again, yeah. Halting up. GovX has had this pivot at 378, but it's not been trading the greatest. It pulled back below the pivot, had a false breakout, curled back up. It's at 446. Now it's got high volume selling on the 1 minute with a big topping tail. Let's see, I'll hang around for a bit longer here. Resuming at 42.27. Once again, though, its range is very small. From 198 low up to 223. It only has like 25 cents of range for its halt band. Not a very big halt band. Yeah, this one's not trading very nicely either. Bunch of false breakouts. I was hoping that this stock would pull back to the pivot here, give us a 1 minute pullback on the pivot with support of 385 or support of 378. Doesn't look like it's doing that. And the previous pullback happened below the pivot here, which I didn't particularly like, because my entry for first candle to make a new high would be, I guess it would be the pivot exactly, but it's not guaranteed that it won't be a false breakout. And it did slightly false breakout there, popped up, kind of pulled back. Might have been spooked out by the fact that it pulled back to 368 after getting in at 385. So SBFM resumed at 232 or 229 and halting down. Now it's halting down. Yeah. So I don't want to get in this stock and then get caught in a halt down because it only has 25 cents of range. It's going to be doing this all day. So the reason is because it started the day like its previous price was 29 cents. So because it's below $1 being a penny stock, its halt bands for this day are really, really tight. So this stock is pretty much going to be halting up and halting down all day. Not to mention, it doesn't have news as far as I can tell. Last news was May 13th. So what is the possibility? There is a possibility that this comes all the way back down. you know, so I was a bit more interested in GovX, but this had topping tails all the way up, and I explained previously around this pivot what's going on here. I don't particularly like any of these for entries. Those are the top 5 leading gainers that I would trade. You know, HCAIs. A Chinese stock that made a move previously, so this is kind of a dead cat bounce. Not interested. CREG higher float. CIASS has sold off now. Pulled back too much. Not interested. Everything else isn't up enough on the day. QUCY selling off, pulled back too much. Oops, I'm at not enough volume. CWB selling off. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it here and just take the green day and book it. Today has been a little bit warmer, which is great to see. If it continues this market sentiment, then there will be more opportunities. It's only Monday, so we have a little bit of a cushion now. 27 bucks on the first day, which is good. If we can get a bit more of a cushion tomorrow and continue with a green streak, then I can start sizing up a little bit tomorrow, and then on Wednesday I can be more aggressive if it continues to be warm. You know, I can start relaxing myself a little bit, not you know, not avoiding stocks that are moving quickly even if they have no news, because that's kind of what I did today since it's been so cold. Part of my rules says I shouldn't trade stuff that doesn't have a catalyst that I'm aware of, a news catalyst. So SBFM and GovX earlier on in the day, Ross made money on them. I didn't trade them. I did see the opportunities on them, but I passed them up. So the only really good opportunity with news today for me was LABT for that 1 minute pullback. But as I build a cushion and I build some profits in this small account challenge, then I can afford to be a bit more aggressive. Right now I'm still warming up. We're scaling in. Right? Taking it slow, building one step at a time, not being overzealous at the start. But yeah, I'm also not feeling well today. I mentioned that I ate something bad over the weekend. Hasn't sat well with me for a couple of days. So grateful to be green. That puts us at a 60% accuracy so far with the small account challenge. I had 2 losses, 1 win on the first day. Had a bunch of no trade days. Had a 1 win day. And today we have another 1 win day. So that's 3 wins, 2 losses, 60% accuracy. And we're up with the $4 in last week. So we're up like about 31 bucks so far in the small account challenge. Nothing to scoff at. You know, this might look small right now, but if you right now I'm trading with 1/100th of the account size that I could be trading with in the future. So in the future, my max account size would probably be around $200,000, which is the account size that Ross would trade with if he, you know, if he doesn't let it accumulate up to $1 million, which he does sometimes. But, you know, you multiply these profits by 100, nothing to scoff at. 2,700 bucks for the day. Although Ross was up you know, whatever he was, 17,000. I'm still only 9 months into trading, so being up at all is good. Good start to the account challenge. But yeah, I'm gonna call it there. Thanks to everyone who stopped by today and watched the stream. I'll be back at it again tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern time, as per usual. Till then, take care, stay green. I'll see you next time.